Welcome to Courtney's Food Fix Fuel for Your Fullest Life. I thought I'd say good night tonight. We are doing our companion video from our Loving Lavender series, and tonight we are making lavender lemonade with a little lavender tea. So we've got our lavender here, and this lavender actually is, and I just want to talk about the differences before we start cooking. So there's lavender that you can get all over out of the fields. It's okay if you grow your own lavender, but if you pick it out of the fields, chances are, depending on what country you're in, it's been sprayed with toxins. So that you don't want, and you want to get culinary grade. So there we go. So we got this beautiful lavender. We're going to set that to the side. This right here is culinary grade. I love it. It still has the purple flowers on it, and it still smells so good. Now, if you want to go over the beautiful benefits of lavender, look at me, I'm just smelling it. I'm already drifting down. Look at our last video on Loving Lavender, and it'll go into all the health benefits. I do want to bring up that lavender is really great for the girls. For the girls, not so much for the boys. All right, so let's make our lavender syrup. Now, here, we're going to make a simple syrup. So if any of you all have watched any of my drink videos, I've talked about making a simple syrup. It's always some form of a sugar, and it can be a 1-to-1 ratio. It can be a higher ratio of water. You can manipulate it depending on how thick you want it. One thing that I like in this instance is I'm going to make this one a little bit thicker because I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and I want it to last. So here, when we talk about cooking lavender, you want to bring it to a boil, and then you want to stop. So, just going to show you really quickly. All right, so I've got some water that I already have, and I'm going to do a 1-to-1 on only a half a cup. So I got a half a cup of water and a half a cup of sugar. Now you can make this if you're going to, well, it's a syrup, so you gotta make it with some sugar. So if you're going to make it, you can make it with a turbinado sugar. You can make it with white sugar, although I try to never use that. And let's be clear, sugar is sugar, and then there are iterations of other things that can come in, other minerals and other parts that can come from it being not over processed that can be beneficial. But if you're diabetic, sugar. So here you can also use a coconut sugar, but if you're going to use a turbinado or coconut sugar, it's going to be a darker color. All right, so I'm just going to go through this really quickly. So now we've got our sugar and our water on, and really what we want is we want to diffuse and dissolve the sugar in here. Now I'm moving pretty quickly because you can do this one of two ways. You can add the water and then go ahead and add the lavender, or you can do it this way where it's not totally cooked, and we're going to go ahead and add the lavender in. So here I only did half a cup. This is going to be a thicker sugar. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add probably about 2.5 tablespoons of lavender. Again, it's smelling good. Okay, I'm already feeling dreamy. All right, so in this case, just by doing this, and what I'm doing is I'm just quickening up the dissolving process because I want that lavender to just get a chance to just move around. Now again, like I said, you want to bring it to a boil. You can even have a top if you want to move it quickly. But once you bring it to a boil, it's almost there. I can hear it. Once you bring it to a boil, one of the things is you just want to stop and set it to the side. And I say that because lavender, they're precious flowers. So let's move on to what our lavender lemonade already is. So here I already have some lavender syrup that I've made. I'm going to pour it in here just so you can see the color. And you can see it's already a greenish brown. I like mine extra lavendery, and I buy my lavender that's not bitter, so I leave it in, and it does fine for me. If you taste it, you may find out that you may not like it. Also, when you're making the lavender sugar, you want to go ahead and let it sit there, and you want to let it steep probably for about an hour or longer. I let mine sit for a good 2 hours. Then from there, last maybe about a week and a half, 2 weeks, if you put it in a jar that's sanitized or that you rinse out with hot water, get it clear, then pour it in there, then make sure there's no oxygen in it, not a lot of oxygen. All right, let's go ahead and just make our lavender lemonade. Now, whose name starts with a C? I know, Courtney's does. All right, so our lemonade for one. We have 1 large lemon, we have 1½ tablespoons lavender syrup, and about 10 to 12 ounces water. What we're gonna do tonight, and we're gonna switch it up. I like hot lemonade, so that's what we're making. If you wanna make yours cold, just use cold water, which works out fine, but it works out well because of the lavender syrup. If you don't want to use a lavender syrup and you just want to use sugar, then you want to use the lemon, a little bit of hot water, little bit of sugar, and then you can add in your cold water. Also, if you want to make this lemonade for one and you're feeling like it's a little bit earlier in the day, maybe midday, and you're feeling a little bit like the veranda, then you could add a little bit of what? Vodka to it, which would be fine. Then if you want to make a hot toddy, you can add a little bit of whiskey. So here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to squeeze my 1 lemon. Ooh, yes. And then I'm going to, ooh, I can smell that lavender. It's calling me. It's saying, hey girl, it's time to go to bed. Hey girl, how's your day been? It's time. All right, so here we got the juice of 1 lemon. Then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use our lavender lemonade, our lavender syrup. Got our 2 tablespoons. And then all I'm gonna do is add in my hot water. Man, that smells so good. All right, so we got 1 beverage done. All right, now let's just make 1 cup of lavender lemonade, and I'm gonna make it the fast way. So we're gonna go back to this. So if you wanna make it on the stove top, you go ahead, you would add your water in, you add in your lavender flowers, you bring it to a boil, you stop it, and then you wanna put a top on it and just let it steep. If you want the quick and dirty way, and you're not feeling like you wanna do all that, then what you can do is, you can put your strainer right there on top. You're gonna stay for mama, maybe, yes. And then what you're gonna do is, you're gonna add in your 1 tablespoon of lavender flowers. I'm gonna hold it. And then we're gonna pour it in. Don't you feel like we're sailing away together? I feel like that. And then I'm gonna put my magic top on it, and then I'm gonna let that sit for probably about 5 minutes. And yes, it's time for bed. So, the last thing I just wanna say is, don't forget that lavender are really beautiful, precious flowers, gentle things, petite fleurs. And if that brings you anxiety, then perhaps, maybe you just need to go sit down and go to bed. So with that, I'm going to say good night. Much love. I I can already feel my mood changing. See you next time.